Exposed Vegan Media Podcast. I am your host, Jaja Porter, a wife, mom, triathlete, and vegan chef. On this channel, you'll experience my ongoing docuseries capturing my swim, bike, run, and nutrition journey featuring all the people I interact with along the way. All right, we are at episode 6. This podcast is brought to you by Exposed Vegan Media. And today we are still talking about triathlon. And I'm excited to bring these ladies here to you today. So let's get into it. First, I would like them each to tell us a little bit about their why. I mean, why multisport? Why triathlon? So Lisa, I'm going to first hand it over to you because you're the one I met first. So please tell us about your why and why you are staying connected with multisport.
My why is just to be. I keep doing it to get better, a better me, each and every time I go out there. It's the one thing that is my own. It's a team sport, but it's not. It's and so when I cross the finish line, it's my accomplishment. It's my I did that all by myself, but it took a village. It took a team to get me there. But those are my accomplishments, and I come from a very type A background. Both my husband and I are West Point graduates. Go Army, and he started his own company, and he's like the star, and I wanted my own star, and this is my star. So my why is just it's for me. It's just for me, my star.
Lisa, I love that. And can I tell you one of the things, reason I want to totally be like you when I grow up? Because I often see pictures of you and your grandbabies. And I'm always thinking like, when I'm a grandma, forgot I'm a grandma. I can't wait for the day. But I want my kids today are able to say, my mom does triathlons. My mom is competing this weekend. But I'm like, how amazing will it be for my grandchildren to say, my grandma is a triathlete? Not she was, but she is. And she just did a race. So, for those that are thinking, I have to wait for this, or I'm too old, or I can't do it. Lisa, please share how many grandbabies you have.
I have 5 grandbabies ranging from 5 to 2. I mean 7 to 2. 7, 5, 3, 2, and 2. And they're just a pure joy. And every time I come home, they're like, "Mommy, show me a G." They call me Mimi. Mimi, show me your medal. Show me your medal. Show me your pictures. I want to see. I want to swim. So now they're like, "Can I go?"
Right. And to motivate that next generation in your family, it just seems amazing to me. So one, thank you for sharing your why. And thank you for inspiring me to just keep moving even after being a grandma, which is what I look forward to. So thank you. Crystal, we'll now go over to you. If you wouldn't mind sharing your why multisport, why triathlon?
Sure. Thanks, Jaja. So, my why, kind of similar to what Lisa mentioned, is that feeling of accomplishment when it comes to either training and or racing. That feeling of crossing the finish line after you kind of look back and looked at everything you've done to get to that finish line. For me, it's so just almost addictive, if you will, and just having that. I'm originally a New York City kid, born and raised in New York City, and so I love each individual sport of running and biking and swimming, and I grew up kind of doing all 3 of those, but never and that I ever think to kind of put it all together in the sport of triathlon. And that really just kind of gives me a great motivation. I started with running, and after about close to 18 years of running, we just kind of thought about doing something different and giving my body a little bit of a variety. And once I was diagnosed with MS, that really kind of gave me that motivation of pushing myself and seeing what my body can actually do. And so that just continues to give me that why to continue, because I'm just so at times amazed at what my body can do.
I don't think I realized that you were diagnosed with MS.
I'm like, how did I not know that?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's even more amazing. I don't think I'm pretty sure I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
knew
It's been
you.
6 years now that I've
Wow.
been. So I was sort of in the crux of triathlon when I got my diagnosis, and my doctor gave me sort of these prognosis and things that I could not do, and I says, well, I was I was a triathlete when I walked into the office, and I'm going to continue to be a triathlete when I leave the office. So until my body tells me that I can no longer do the sport of triathlon, I'm going to keep going. And I didn't know I had MS when I walked in, and I'm going to keep going until I can no longer do it. And so far, by the grace of God, I've been able to continue to do it.
Wow, that's amazing. I feel like I'm going to have more questions, but we'll keep going. And thank you so much for sharing your why.
You're welcome.
Now, Kira, we're going to go over to you. Thank you for joining us, and please share, what is your why? Why multisport? Why triathlon?
My why is it's actually mental health and fitness and discipline. I started in endurance sports like some of the others. I'd always swim, biked, and run separately. But I started doing more endurance sports several years ago when I had preemie 2-year-old twins who were going through developmental stuff, and my father had stage 4 cancer. And as you can imagine, just being pulled 2 different ways, and my head was just a mess. So I found that training and going long helped quiet my mind so that I could deal with what I was going through at the time. And then I've just found, even having gotten past those times, that triathlon in particular keeps me mentally astute and disciplined. I don't stress out very much. I have a very stressful job, and I can just go. I can switch gears. I can pivot, and I can't do that when I'm not training. So it's actually good for me, body, mind, and soul, to be training. So that's kind of my why.
Yeah, I think I definitely share that with you. I think when I don't do something related to training, my day is off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm often like, gosh, I'm tired. But most of the time, I'm not tired because of training. It's all
Right.
the other stuff that
Yeah.
seems to interrupt my day and my mind. So,
Yeah, I feel like I'm not as sharp if I'm not training. And like, when I'm training, I'm rolling with the punches. Something bad happens. Okay, we switch gears, we move on. And if I'm not training, I'm a little slower moving through those obstacles.
yeah,
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think this started y'all's season, right? This particular triathlon that we're talking about. What did you have to do? Maybe I'll go for you, Crystal. What did you do to get prepared for this year's season? What's going on with you in 2024?
Well, 2024 has been sort of a comeback season. I broke my foot and tore a ligament in my foot in 2022, and I had surgery. So 2023 was sort of just rebuilding. In 2024, I was fully released to start triathlon. And for this year, I just started back slowly. I started as if this was sort of the beginning, if you will. Started with shorter runs. With 5Ks, with some duathlons. And to your point, the Bear Triathlon was the first full triathlon that of the season. And so just kind of giving myself some grace and knowing that I can't start from where I originally left off before I broke my foot. And so I was just able to do that and kind of getting back also with strength training. So essentially for this season, I just started back from sort of the bare basics and trying to build back my fitness from there.
So MS, broken foot, but you're like, I'm still moving.
Still moving,
And
yeah, absolutely.
even if I have to start from, you know, maybe step one or two, because you still know how to swim and bike and things like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
not ground zero completely, but
Completely. But
you're
yeah.
not letting it stop you. You're still going to move. You're still going to be conscious about your health. I mean, if that doesn't motivate people, I don't know what else is, because like there's no excuses, it sounds like, for you.
Absolutely. I have 9 pins and 2 plates in my foot. So when I broke it good. I didn't just go halfway. And yeah, and I said I'm gonna again keep going and keep continuing to do and make any adjustments that I may need to make. So it's been, it's a process, and I'm gonna be patient with myself and make sure that I can put in the work. But yeah.
Yeah, so you got it up on me, because I have a pin in my knee and a
Mhm.
pole in my leg when I broke both of my legs. So 9 pins, you definitely got me beat. I definitely have no excuses. I won't keep talking about all the that I'm bionic, because you have way more than me. So okay, you're keeping me motivated. Akira, we're gonna go over to you. What's going on with you this season? How did you get it started? And maybe share a little bit about your goals.
Yeah, this was a bit of a comeback year for me too. Differently than Crystal, I had a year that went kind of sideways on me last year. I had a hysterectomy that went sideways and ended up back in the ER for a second emergency surgery that was not minimally invasive, and had to rebuild from there.
Wow.
So this is my comeback season. I was kind of out last season, and I decided, last year I turned 50 and I was not of the same strength that I'm used to being. And this year I'll be turning 51. And I said, you know what, we're gonna do this year what we should have been able to do last year. So I signed up for the full iron for this year. It'll be my first. I'm at the stage in my training where I'm like, this was a really crazy decision. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not sure if this is a good idea. But this was my season opener for Iron Maryland, that I'll be doing in September. So I just decided I deferred my 50th wish was to do a full iron.
I mean, I hear 50s is where it's at. I'm 40. I'm going to be 49 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Then on my road to 50. So you ladies are inspiring me that, you know what, you just keep moving, keep it rolling.
That's
And
right.
that seems like the perfect age to do your first Ironman. So I'm here for it. I can't wait to talk to you about it and recap
Yes. You
over
have to give me all the advice.
finish.
Yes.
I
I
was
need
actually
all the
thinking of
advice.
going to Maryland, so now I'm definitely thinking about it, because I did like that race. I do like that course.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm excited for you.
Thank
So
you.
why don't we bring it over to Lisa? Lisa, let us know about this season. Do you have any goals you want to share, and how do you
After
kick
this,
it
you were
off?
talking about going into your 50s all fired up, and I'm like, honey, I'm staring 60. So I turned 57 this year. So, and I have set a goal, a comeback goal of finishing Ironman Maryland for my 60th, when I'm 60. So last year I had a major setback and major disappointment. And I was all set to, make my comeback, for the full. Um, and I went to Ohio, Ironman, and Crystal drove me out there. So she was my Sherpa. And I went out there to Ohio, and I knew that I was having some trouble with my back. I hadn't really talked to a physician about it or gotten any screen, but I got out there. I had one of my best bikes. I, great swim. I made it out the water. The water was hostile. And I got on the run, and I got about 4 miles in, and I could barely stand upright. I kept getting slower and slower. I was bent over at the waist, and I finally was like, I was thinking I'm going to have to crawl this, and I was like, I can't do 13 miles. I was in so much pain that I didn't have my phone on, even for an emergency on on me. I had to borrow a spectator's phone to get to call my husband, because I didn't know anybody's number. Call my husband to call Crystal and tell her to tell her and my classmate who came out to help, to come get me. And they found me laying on somebody's lawn. you know,
Gosh.
and we just stretched. But I had to make some hard decisions. I found out I have degenerative arthritis in my lower spine. I always had, arthritis in my knees, and it came to the point where we're going to have to do a lot of rehab, and we got to change the way you run. You cannot do that high impact. If you're going to still be out there, my orthopedist is a triathlete. So he's like, you're not going to stop. So here's what you can, here's what you can do. And he's like, you're going to have to learn to power walk. You can't do that high impact. We're going to have to do some, I have all kinds of injections in my spine and the fascia. And he said, and you need to lose some weight. And so I did all the things that he did, rehab and everything. And I lost 70 pounds. And so this race was my comeback. And I've been working on my walking, and Crystal makes fun of me all the time that I walk very fast. She said
She walks
that's
faster
my
than
run.
I run.
You're walking with purpose out there.
Yeah.
I walk with a mission.
Yes.
So Bear was, I've been doing I did a couple of running races just to see how I'm doing. I've been picking that up, but Bear was my first try to see, let's see where I'm at. And I put down the race. I mean, I didn't podium or anything, but I PR'd every event. And I came across that finish line. I felt like I can do all things. And then, of course, Coach Vaughn, everybody knows the Vaughn Spencer. She was like, so we're going to do North Carolina, right? I was like, am I? She's like, yeah, you can do it. So
yeah, it's good to have those with you and around you, and those that inspire you to push you. And I'm so happy that you mentioned your weight loss, because I didn't want to pry, but I've been seeing pictures and I'm like zooming in. It's like, wait, is that Lisa?
Where did she go?
She looks good.
Yeah.
I figure out what's going on. I got to figure out the perfect time, because you never know. You don't know if it's an illness or things like that. But then when I saw you trying, and I'm like, okay, she's on a journey. She clearly has a story. I can't wait to talk to her about it, to see what's going on. Because to me, you look amazing.
Thank you.
It didn't
I
look like
feel
you
amazing.
were sick,
I was my first race that was pain free.
Right. Oh, that is amazing. And then I saw a picture of you coming out of the water, and I didn't want to look at the captions because I want to hear about it. But I was like, and she looks strong. Like, I'm so proud of her. So I can't wait to hear about this race and everything that's going on for you. So I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that your journey is, you're transitioning into something that you can share with others, because this is amazing. 57, lost 70 pounds, and on your way to another Ironman. I mean, just people who just think they can't because of, whatever reason, just the stories that we just told just now about why. I mean, you can.
Yeah, you can. Yes,
you can.
Yes, you can. And
And these are three wonderful examples.
This to everybody. I tell everybody, a couple things. I may be slow. I may, in fact, come in last, but I make this look good.
Exactly.
And
I say that all the time.
Yeah.
Even though the last race I was in the middle, and I'm like, am I in the middle? Why am I around all the runners?
And you can, of course, you can do whatever you put your mind to. We all know that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just amazing to hear you all's story. But now I'd like to learn a little bit more about Bear Triathlon. So I've never done this race before. And then, Lisa, you are an ambassador for Rip It.
Yes.
Is that right? Can you share why you chose this particular race and a little bit about that group? Because I've never done that race before, and I'm not familiar with that triathlon club.
So Rip It event puts on a large series of races, both running and triathlon, mostly in Maryland. And now that he's taken on the racing, he bought some of those, took over those races. So now he's got Virginia and Delaware. And Bear was his first outside of Maryland triathlon. And he's just, this year is the first year he added the youth, a youth race, a splash and dash to the course. So I chose to do it, one, because I've been a Ripid ambassador for 6 years, and it's been going on he started it 6 years ago. So it's one of his races. We race ambassadors race all of his races for free as an ambassador, and representing the course. And it is a fun, flat. The bike course is the lake. Well, start with a swim. It's a pond, I guess. It looks like a big lake, but they call it a pond, Lum's Pond. So there's no current, and the water at the time of year we go, it's not balmy, but it's not freezing. You can wear your wetsuit. It's always wetsuit legal. But there's no current. It's relatively easy swim. It's a little hard to sight sometimes when you get around because the sun will be facing you. But a great swim. And this is the first time it was 2 loops. It's usually out and around and back. And this time we had to do 2 loops, and I was like, I don't want to do 2 loops. I don't want to go around again. But and then the bike is flat and fast. There's a couple of false flats, but it's a fast course, and I actually enjoy doing, and it's a loop course for the Olympics, so it's fun. And then the run is a trail, mostly, not paved trail, but what did you call that? Compact, or it's a trail run. It's a trail run, which is not my favorite because I'm clumsy, and I gotta look at my feet, because when you're power walking, your feet are close to the ground, so those roots will jump up, snatch me. So, but it's a beautiful place, a nice course. You would love it. So
it sounds amazing. I feel like I want to go next year.
Yeah.
Just because I've seen you participated in a couple of times.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely have to put it on the calendar. What about you, Crystal? Why Bear Triathlon?
Well, I've been doing Bear. This is my 4th time doing Bear, and as Lisa mentioned, it's not too far from home. It's less than 2 hours drive, so I consider it relatively local. The race director, Danny Serpico, he and his group, as Lisa mentioned, they're fantastic. They're friendly. When at my first Ripid event, as Lisa mentioned, I'm also one of those back of the packers. And what I love about the group is that they don't make you feel like a back of a packer. They're all enthusiastic. The announcer's still there calling your name. The finish arch is still up. And so it's just a great group of people, I think. And as Lisa mentioned, the course, the bike course, I love because it is fast. And when I looked at my bike computer and I was like, oh, I'm going 19, me going 19. It only lasted for a few seconds, but it was still, when I looked, I was like, oh, I'm going 19. And so that, it's a great course. The run, as Lisa said, can be a little dicey. But just all in all, it's a great race, I think, for start of season, for first timers. Everyone there is pretty much just excited, very friendly, very supportive. Every year that Bear's there, I plan to race, because it's a great, just kind of, let's see where I am at the beginning of the season, so I know where I'm building from.
Thank you. Kara, what about you? Why Bear Triathlon?
Yeah, so it was what we call a rust buster for me. So it was my first open water swim, my first triathlon of the season, and I have Eagleman coming up in 2 weeks. So I felt like I needed something around that time, and it was situated at the perfect date. And because I know all these Ripid ambassadors, I was familiar with the race. I've done one other Ripid event, and I didn't regret that one. So I was like, all right, I'm doing this Ripid event. It's not too far. Like they said, I'm in Jersey, about 2 hours away. But it was just perfect. And let me tell you, the Ripid ambassadors, like, there is no bigger cheer squad, both on and off the course. There's people running with their little Ripid outfits, and they're cheering for everybody. It was just a great spirit, and it was just fun. Especially because most of us are there first try of the season, and so everybody's a little excited, a little nervous. So I thought it was a good community to have that experience with.
So it sounds like it's a great East Coast type location. If you're in that particular area and you don't want to travel far, it's a good local race
Yeah.
with great community support.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds like a win-win to me. So for those in the, what is it, Maryland, maybe Virginia, Delaware area,
There were New
there's
Yorkers
definitely
there also. A lot of New
Yeah.
Yorkers there, a couple other New
UP from New
Jersey.
Jersey, right?
Well,
So
'cause,
yeah,
our water is still cold, so it's worth a little bit of travel to get an open water in that's not like in the 50s. I don't like getting in the 50s. Yeah.
yeah, that's a good first season one for those listening in May. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about first season in the water. I think I saw your picture first, Crystal. So how was it coming out of the water, open water, pond that kind of looks like a lake? How did you feel with your swim?
I felt great for my swim because I had actually done a swim here locally, just an open water swim. I believe it was 3 weeks ago before Bear. That was chilly. The water then was about 62. So the water for the Bear race was, I believe, about 67 or so. So that water felt very comfortable. The swim, as Lisa mentioned, is very smooth. It's calm. I did the sprint, so I only actually did one loop. And coming around sort of towards the finish line, we were swimming into the sun, so there was a little bit of a vision problem there because I couldn't really see the buoy in front of me. But I knew that all I had to do was keep swimming relatively straight, and eventually I'd hit land. Someone would tell me to stop. Um, and once I came out of the water, I was fine. It was very comfortable, and then just ran into transition and got ready to hop on my bike. So the swim for me, the one loop was great. It was just enough, and then I was like, okay, now I'm ready to transition, jump on the bike, and see what I can do on the bike.
So Lisa, you said it's 2 loops for Olympic, and then Crystal, it's 1 loop for sprint.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Lisa, how did you said you didn't want to do 2 loops, but you look like you were in beast mode coming out of that water when I saw your picture.
I did not want to go around because I don't like loops in the water. I did one, but I just decided, and it's a mind game I play with myself is because once you go dark, it's really hard to dig yourself back out. So I was coming around that last buoy to start my turn, and I just decided, girl, now it's time to kick in the afterburner. You gotta you might as well just do this because you got to, and so let's not piddle around. And so I just started having that talk with me, and I came around, that buoy to make the second turn, and I said, all right, well, it's time to let's go. Let's get finished. And I knew Akira was right ahead of me, so I kept like, there was only a couple of yellow caps, and a couple of yellow caps and a couple of brown arms in the water, so I could look up. There she is, and she's. I'm like, hurry up, don't let her get too far ahead. And it was the fastest open water swim I have put down in ever, without a current. Without a current assist.
Is there any
I've never been faster than like a 220 per 100, and then at Bear I put down a 208.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I came out of the water. I wasn't, usually when I'm putting out that kind of effort, I come out of the water trying to once get my back, stand up straight, instead of, vertical. And then I'm winded. I'm like, oh my God, I can't run I got to walk to transition. And I was able to I came stomping out of the water and trotted up the hill. I was like, oh, I am feeling good.
Yeah, I told Lisa she looked like she should have had some theme music coming out the water the way she was just kind of heading out. And I was like, there should be some theme music.
I know. She looked like she was on a mission. I was like, I can't wait to hear about this.
And
yeah, you look amazing.
Vaughn is always telling we ain't got all day. So she's like, I ain't got all day to be waiting on you. Get into transition and get out.
Yes.
Yeah. It helps when your friends are telling you to move it. Let's go. You got another leg to do.
Right.
Yeah. Akira, how was your swim? And what distance did you do?
I did the ollie also, so I was in the 2 loops with Lisa. But it was, I was a bit nervous going in. I don't know about y'all because this was my first of the season. It was my first open water season swim. I was not really sure what to expect. And Lisa, I'm like you, like I can get really good in the pool, but it has never come together for me in open water. I'm always like 30-second pace off what I'm doing in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
But something was going right for us that day. And I know my coach had just said, don't worry about time, just swim strong and focus on your technique. And my goal was really also to stay calm because I'm usually like, okay, where am I? Lots of splash, lots of arms. And I just like, okay, I just need to stay in my zone and just keep it even and strong and good technique that I just tried to focus on. I, like you, I remember coming around. What was bad about coming around that first loop is you could hear other people finishing. And I was like, I hear them cheering and I gotta go around.
And they're getting out the water. And, you go like this and you can see them getting out the water.
Yeah,
You're like,
and then I gotta go back around. Yeah.
Did the sprint group and the Olympic go at the same time?
no,
Okay.
they spaced it out
Sprint
by,
went first, and then the Olympic went last. But me and Lisa were in the last wave of the Olympic.
yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So there were people finishing when we were coming around that first loop.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how you're running
Yeah.
and you have to run past the finish line
Oh.
and you hear done, but you still have a loop.
And
like
they tease you on this one. You come like right up to the finish line on the run for your turnaround.
You got that little,
literally
you can see the finish line. And they got this little thing with a U-turn. And you're like, oh man, who's going to know? Everybody's going to know.
Yeah,
okay.
they're going to know.
Everyone know.
Yeah. But I was really pleased with my swim because it was closer to the time I had been training for in the pool. So it came together. Yeah, that was my PR for no current assist also. Swim.
That's awesome. Especially it's starting the year, right? Then you feel good.
Yeah.
You have a good swim, kicking off the year with a good just an overall good race, it sounds like so far. So Akira, going into transition, like how was your transition? Were things coming back to you? You had a
hot mess going into transition. So first, I could not get my wetsuit off. I had forgotten how to do it. I couldn't find my little, the little lace to start zipping it down. And I was panicking, starting to panic. I was like, I'm not going to get this wetsuit off. I'm coming through transition. I was like, I can't get my wetsuit off. And Lorraine, I don't know if y'all know Lorraine. She's like, no nonsense. I was like, I can't get it off. And she's like, yes, you can. The string is right on your shoulder. And literally it was sitting right here. And I'm like, I'm trying to find it. It was right here. So then I was like, oh. And then I had to do the little shimmy. I need to work on my wetsuit, getting on and off. Both on and off was a little shaky for me. Once I got it off, I was good. I was like, all right, helmet, shoes, let's go. And then we were off.
I mean, it's the first of the season, so you have to give yourself grace. I know my first was Puerto Rico. I was all over the place. That was a hot mess.
It just felt like I had never done it before. Like I just couldn't remember. I was like, what do I do next? Yeah.
But it happens. And that means you're just going to be amazing in Eagleman. We're putting that in the air. So Crystal, how was your transition?
My transition was a little bit sort of the opposite of Akira's. I got my wetsuit off just fine. It was everything else in transition that was sort of all over the place. And I said, okay, well, number one, I didn't make my to-go bag, as Coach Vaughn always tells us to make our to-go bag. So everything is in one bag and you're not necessarily searching for everything. And so in transition, I put everything in its proper place, but for some reason it was sort of like I didn't go in order. And I just stopped for just a second. I said, Crystal, just go through your checklist. Where's your helmet? Where's your gloves? Where's, put your socks on, your baby powder in the socks, just so your feet's dry, etc. So once I did my mental checklist, I was able to kind of go through everything and it was a lot smoother. But at the start of it, I was just looking around like, oh my God. And to Akira's point is like, I felt like I'd never done a transition before. I was like, Crystal, you've done this before. Relax.
Yeah, exactly.
Go through your checklist, go from top to bottom.
Yeah.
helmet, gloves, camelback, socks, shoes, go. And yeah, and I said, okay, that was
You realize at some point it's a lot simpler than we make it out to be.
Yes.
We got all this stuff, and it really comes down to shoes, helmet. You got fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
And if you forget something, I mean, what is there to forget? You know, if
Yeah.
you set it up
Right.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa, how was your transition?
It was pretty good. I started stripping my wetsuit down to my waist coming out of and I was already in this, oh, it's going well for me, you know, that attitude. I'm like, okay. I'm like, keep going. Now I got in there and I was like, what do I do next? You know, that initial staring at my bike, okay, I got everything off. Okay. It was just, it was only a few seconds where I was like confused. I felt a little lost. And then I was like, oh, put your helmet on. And then everything else would go. It was, well, my glasses were in my helmet. I was like, glasses, helmet. And then I did my shoes or bike shoes and I was off. Because I was chasing a carrot. I was like,
with me.
I come into transition and she was struggling with her, wetsuit, but she got out a transition before me, and I was like, look, hurry up, I gotta get her. I gotta catch up.
And it's funny, we've done these so many times. I know you ladies have done these races so many, but sometimes you get out of the water and then you just have this brain fog of just like, wait, now what was I doing? And you're like, snap out of it. Like, it's just mental. Like, you're chasing somebody, or you know how to do this. You've done this a million times.
I know what I'm supposed to do, but all these thoughts are running through your head, and I just have to stop for a second, focus, get it on, and get out. And anything that I was missing, it should have been on my bike already, because if I set it up, or there's nothing I'm going to leave, because I can't go without my helmet. I can't go without some shoes, so my bike shoes. So go.
And that's the one you kind of need the least amount of stuff, but you just have that moment like, am I forgetting something? No, you're not. Let's go.
Yeah.
So, but you ladies made it. You got started with your bike. It sounds like it's a fast bike. Kira, why don't you share what the bike course was like for you?
It was pretty darn flat. Like Lisa said, there's some false flats, and for us on the Ollie, it's 3 loops. So you kind of get the hang of it. It's just, it's pretty much a square. You go around the square around the park. And then Lisa was on my tail the whole damn ride. All 3 damn loops. I think she passed me once on the first loop, right at the end of the first loop, and then I caught back her up, I caught her back. Then she caught me again, and then I caught her back, and I think we came in like right neck and neck. Yeah. So I was like, word, all right, we doing this. So it was nice because I feel like we pushed each other.
Oh,
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's nice when you can play leapfrog with your friend and keep pushing each other to keep moving. Yeah, that's a great experience. Krista, why don't you share with us what your bike experience was like?
My bike, because I did the sprint. I actually only had 1 loop, and I was very happy for my 1 loop experience. It was, as Akira and Lisa said, it was pretty flat. A couple false flats. When I was on my loop, I recognized I was with some of the guys that kind of passed me by, and they didn't say call out on your left because those were the fast guys.
Nobody
and
did.
I thought, oh wow, so that's what we're doing. We're not calling out on your left. Okay, fine. And I said, well, clearly they're trying to podium. I'm just trying to kind of take in this great bike ride. But other than that, it was pretty good bike. I enjoyed it, and I definitely surpassed my goal of what I wanted to finish in. So I wanted to at least average about 13, just a little over 13. So I averaged about 13.9. So I was happy with that as far as my first real bike of the season. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Let's just share some etiquette. So when we're riding and you're riding alongside, it is okay to say on your left.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes. It's really needed. It's really needed.
I don't know why they don't. I'm like, who raised you?
It's right.
All the guys. Most of the women were good. They all said on your left.
Yeah.
It was the guys who were just like surprised, like up on me. I'm like,
Yeah.
and one time I was passing somebody else, and so I had moved out, and I was like, dude,
Yeah.
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 It's okay to be kind during
Yeah.
races.
Yeah.
You're still going to get where you're going. So
It's
we're just going to share that little
Yes,
tip.
it's a safety matter because you don't know me, you don't know what I'm going to do. So I may just kind of jolt out on your left unexpectedly, and if I don't know you're there, that could also be a safety precaution for the person
It
passing.
really
So
bugs
it's
me
for
because
for their safety as well as mine.
oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
I was going to say that that little piece of bike etiquette and handling skills really aggravates me because I coach a youth triathlon team. And so one of the things that I do is I call them the littles because I have the youngest ones. And I'm adamant about bike handling and calling out that you're on the left or you're passing and everything. And so so I think I have pretty good bike handling skills. But when you're passing somebody that fast, that close, where I could actually throw an elbow or just move 1 inch and we are crashed. It, I have good that I stay on my line. I know where my line is. I don't do a whole lot of swerving when I'm riding. But not everybody is like us.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
that have those kind of skills to maintain a line, even when we don't know if somebody's coming or not. They could have took us out, and it was just it was a lot
And
of
took
that at Bear.
themselves out.
There's a lot of
Yeah. Had that. So, it's not going to interrupt their podium finish to be kind and to warn others,
True.
especially this early in the season. So yeah, just a tip for those that are competing this race or you don't think that's something that necessary. It is.
It is.
And we'll just leave you with that.
Yes.
So Lisa, why don't you share with us how your bike ride went?
Oh, I had a great bike ride. And of course, yes, I was chasing Akira, and I also wanted to, as Vaughn was saying, Lisa, get out there and drop the hammer. Let's see what we can do on this bike. And what was interesting is that I took my tri bike, whose name is Dracaris, um, to get just a tune up the week before the race. And it turned out I was like, are you just building my bike for me? Because I get in there and he said, you need new tires, you need new chain, you need a chain ring. And I was like, oh gosh, I spent a fortune getting my bike. But one thing he told me, I was complaining that I felt like in Aero, I was sliding forward on the seat. And I thought maybe he needed to adjust my seat. And he's like, nope, let's get you on the bike. I want to see what, how you're, it could be more than just a seat. It could be, we need to raise up your aero bars or anything else. And they get me on and he looks at me and he goes, Lisa, how much weight have you lost? And I was like, so I told him, and he goes, those spacers we put on your bike when you first got it, we need to remove them because your thighs can come back in, and we put the spacers in there so you could clear and keep your knees forward. Now you don't need the spacers anymore. And he said, now go out there and race without it. I want to hear how much power you have. And I got on that bike and I was like, oh my God. I could hear the music and I felt like the Wicked Witch. I was like 90. I mean, my average RPM was, I'm always trying to do 90, cycle 90 is the mantra. And I was like average 87, 85 was my overall race average. Although I did learn that I'm going to have to learn how to manage, what would you call it, pacing myself, because I would go all out and I'm like gone and I'm averaging 19, and then I'd get to a part where there was the false flat and I'd be like, okay, I'm a little tired right now and I need to take a little break. And then here comes Akira. I don't know, what are you doing? Let's go. And I'm like, oh, I'm tired. No, you're not. And so I get my wind and I'd like take off again. So that's something I'm going to have to learn is about evening it out and pacing it, because I would drop, I was gone. I was exhilarated, and my average was the fastest I've ever done in 12 years of cycling. I averaged 17 miles an hour on that.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
One, it's just awesome just to race with friends, which is why I love having
Yes.
friends on the course, because you'll see each other and be like, come on.
I
Like,
did
you
see
know why
Crystal
we're
out there.
here.
I came around and I saw Crystal was going back in,
Yeah.
and I was going out on another loop.
Yeah, it helps when we're yelling at each other and telling each other to move our behinds on this course because we know
Absolutely.
how hard we've worked. But then another amazing thing for you is you lost weight and a new fit seemed like it was
Yeah.
needed because adjustments, things happened with your body. So that's, super important.
Yeah.
If things and you're going through changes, whatever they may be, weight loss can be one of them,
Hmm.
but it's always good when you're going through different seasons to keep, adjusting your bike, adjusting your fit. Like I'm personally getting one this weekend, for a different bike for Lake Placid. And, it's just always important for you to have that comfort and to just one, get your bike checked because it sounds like you got a lot of safety stuff done
Yeah.
that might have impacted you on race day and on the
Yeah.
course with the tires. And so it's so important for you to get your bike checked before you go to your race. And sometimes an adjustment or fitting needs to happen, especially if you're going through changes. And, I think it's good every year or two to kind of look at how you're fit with your bike. So
Hmm.
glad that worked out for you and we can share that with others. So now we're getting off the bike and we're ready to run. Lisa, why don't you continue? What was that like? Okay, you had this amazing bike ride and now it's time to put that fast walk run
Yeah.
on
And
the pavement.
to the test. It was
Yeah.
time, and yeah, I came into transition, and I saw my bike computer, and I was like, yes. And it's like, and now all you got to do, Lisa, is these 6 miles, and it's 1 mile, and so I began my self talk, 1 mile at a time. I have a gym, we call it Gym Boss. It's an interval trainer. So I was like, we got it set. You're going to keep to your intervals and just one foot in front. So I'm going through my mantra because running has been dreadful before, this season. And it was painful. It was miserable. And I didn't want to start my run with being afraid. And, yes, I've done some running races before Bear, but now I'm going to have to put it together. How is this going to feel after swimming and biking and so that there was that little, I did have a little bit of, the fear, but then I start talking. I was like, in order to overcome the fear, because it's not real, fear is not real, fear is not real. I keep telling myself, it's not real. It's what your imagination can come up with. So Lisa, what we're going to do, what are we going to do? What are we going to do, Lisa? So we're going to 1 mile at a time, one step at a time. And so,
And just having that positive mindset, right? Because we are doing some serious talking to ourselves.
oh,
There's some serious conversations happening. So
yeah.
you can decide if you want that conversation to be a pity party
Hmm.
or if you want that conversation to motivate you to think 1 mile at a time. This is not going to suck. We're on a new journey to make it to the finish. And I'm trying to catch my friend.
Yeah. Well, Karen was getting further. I was like, "Hey, girl, see you on the loop."
Yeah.
But it was great. But one thing I'd like to share, especially for back of the Packers, when you're out on that run, you're invariably going to be out there alone. Okay, or there's not as many people that you're going to see. So if your mind game isn't right, if you can't self motivate and entertain yourself, um, and keep yourself positive, it gets real quiet and real lonely out there until you see the next person. And I always tell myself, girl, you're not really last, so you need to be cheery for that person who's coming up behind you, and you're going to see them when you make your turn, so you encourage them. And so, yeah, I often take my mind off myself and think about other people or think about the scenery, so that I don't dwell on me and whatever you don't want to go into that dark place. But
Yeah.
for the back of the Packers, you need to get your mental game a little tough, or get your self-talk up, because you'll be out there by yourself until you get
And
back
there,
to the main, where there might be spectators or something.
because there's a lot of training that happens, right?
Right.
But then there's the mental piece of
Yeah.
race day. Because you can have all that endurance, but you have to get your mind right, whether you're in the front or the back. But
Mm-hmm.
particularly in the back, just don't be thinking about where you are. Get
Right.
to where you need to go
Right.
to finish.
Finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where your mind needs to be. So thank you for sharing that, because it is a mental game. I know I talk to myself a lot during races, and I have a lot this season. Krista, why don't you share with us your run experience transitioning from the bike to the run?
Transitioning from the bike to the run, that was interesting. So as I mentioned, I did the sprint. So my run was a 5K, 3.1 miles. And so coming out of transition, I actually met two new to triathlon triathletes, and they were very nervous about the swim. And one person shared that she was a runner. And so I said, well, I'll see you on the run. And she says, I don't think that's possible. I says, nope, you can't win a triathlon in the swim, but you can certainly finish it on the run. So I said, if you're a runner, you'll catch me on the run. And I started the run, and as we mentioned, it's a trail. I slipped on the first sort of mud pool that we had. I thought, as I saw it, I was approaching, and I thought, well, okay, Crystal, just go to the right of the mud pool. My footing was not very secure, so I slipped, and I said, okay, well, there goes that run. We're going to just kind of do a little bit of a trot run, and trot walk, I should say. And so did that and just to make sure that my foot was stable, because I didn't want to risk another potential injury or anything of that nature. The runner that I met in transition, she caught me at the turnaround for the sprint. And so I said, see, I told you were going to catch me. I said, see, now you can go ahead and finish. Then I met another first timer also on the run, and she was super excited again because she was nervous with her swim. And so she was doing videos and Instagram, and we're out there having fun in the middle of the run. And I said, all right, come on, we got to get to the finish line. And so, yeah, it was just really about having some fun on the run, even though it wasn't necessarily the run that I wanted to have. And I also kind of caught up with a friend. He and I were just kind of talking and chatting and catching up. And so before we knew it, we were at the finish line, and that was just a great experience. So didn't, like I said, have the run that I wanted because of the conditions, but made the best of it. And I was happy.
I mean, still, your comeback is amazing. So
Yeah.
whether you expected to have whatever you expected your run to be, I mean, you were still out there. You still came back. You got started. You fell. You got back up, and you helped somebody. Two people motivated them to keep moving to the finish line.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you could ask for more than that.
Yeah,
so
my goal was to have fun, and that's exactly what I did. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. Akira, how about you? From transitioning from bike to run, how was your experience?
The transition was good. That was one of the areas that I think went kind of good, because I did do the go bag that I think Lisa demoed in Fast Chix a long time ago, and I used to go back and watch that video. What do I put in my go bag? So I had my go bag, so it was literally just get my sneakers on, my sunglasses were in the bag. I was just going. But because this was just a training race for me, I was not supposed to go all out. So even the bike, I was on zone 2 heart rate, and I was supposed to do, my plan from my coach was to start zone 1 and then try to just do negative splits and not be like going crazy out there. Fortunately, I saw Crystal, and she warned me about the mud. So I knew it was coming. And because she said it's going to be right there, and she was off the grass, it's going to be muddy. So I knew to watch my footing. So with the exception of that area, that was the only area I slowed down. But you know that Lisa's right about you have to have your inside talk, your inside voice going, because it does get kind of lonely out there sometimes. And for me, it was staying present in the 1 mile. My off the bike running historically has been trash. I'm an okay runner if all I have to do is run, but I have not ever been able to put my run after my bike in a strong fashion for anything more than a sprint. It always kind of falls apart on me. And so I've really been working on my off the bike running this season, and it did come together. So it's not my personal best 10K, but it is my personal best 10K off the bike. So that was a PR for me on training, because I just stayed in each mile, got comfortable, pushed the next mile a little bit faster, stay there, then push and push and push. And like I mentioned before, the camaraderie on the course was just fantastic. Like everybody's high-fiving each other, giving each other kudos, telling each other to stay strong, stay in the game. So it was, I found it very comforting and helped you get back to having fun.
Yeah. And Jaja, if I can add to Akira, when I saw Akira at the turnaround on her run, I turned to her run and the rest of our friends and I said, are you guys sure that she swam and biked before this run? Because she looked like she just woke up. She looked so fresh, and she had already done 3 miles, and because she was at the turnaround, and I thought, wow, she looks fantastic for someone who, and I would have never known, Akira, that you know, sometimes have had some challenges with your run off the bike, because you looked like you had been doing that run off the bike.
That was probably the first like confident run off the bike I had ever had, where I wasn't like, oh, because usually the wheels are coming off the bus when I'm in the halfway.
Wow, you looked great.
Thank you.
Or again, a comeback race, first of the season, and a PR run off the bike. Yeah. And for you, Lisa, sorry, your finish experience.
Oh, my finish. When I came into that finish, I was so excited and so thrilled that I wasn't in tears, you know, and or trying to fake it. You know, all your friends are watching, so you're like, okay, get ready for the pictures. Okay, but I have come into many a finish line in tears, because it hurt. I was in pain, and it just sucked. And I was like, why am I doing this? But this time I came into that finish line and I was like, yes, I feel great.
You look so strong.
She did.
Yeah, you look so strong coming in.
And there was a woman who she was behind me, and she was 68 years old. And she was yelling at me behind, keep the pace, I'm coming but behind you, keep the pace, don't stop. And I'm like, and finally we got near the finish line, and she was coming up, and I slowed down, and I said, girlfriend, go take that finish line, get it, go now. And so she took off, and
I love it.
It was just wonderful. But she kept yelling. I looked back, and she's like, keep going, I'm coming. It was great.
Yeah, I love that. Akira, what was your finish line experience?
It was good, you know, so I knew I had, at that point, I felt like, you know, it's one of those like feelings where you feel like it all came together, like the plan happened. And it's one of those moments where you realize this is why you have a coach, so they can help you be much smarter. Like, so it wasn't an all out race for me. I wasn't at any point like going pedal to the metal, but it was so smartly put together, and I stayed on plan for the whole thing. So it did just come together, and I kind of had that feeling like this worked. It came together. I'm here. We did this, and it was so awesome because we had several fast chicks there at the finish line cheering, which always makes it feel so amazing. So like, you know, I just said it was like this tailwind effect, because I think I saw Susie and Lorraine and G right before the finish line, and I was like, all right, I'm in. I'm getting pulled into this finish line now, nice and strong.
How did you feel at the finish, Crystal?
Well, our finish was on grass, and I am least graceful when it comes to running on grass. And usually I try to do a little bit of a fartlek to the finish, but I know my limitations. And fartleking on grass is usually does not end well for me. So I just decided, okay, just do a nice little steady trot to the finish, and I felt great. At the finish line. I didn't feel depleted. I didn't feel, to Lisa's point, like, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm gonna die. I felt good. I felt good. So I think it was just a testament to the amount of time. I still obviously have a lot of work to do, but I could tell that my fitness is starting to come back. I'm starting to feel it again.
Well, congratulations, ladies, on your first race of the season. It sounded like an amazing experience. Your comeback stories are amazing. Your journey is amazing. And just the stage of your life that you're still competing in this fashion, even having a 68-year-old yell behind you saying to keep the pace.
Just what you love about the sport, though? Like, people like that at every age.
Yeah,
No,
every
no.
age,
Yeah.
just every walks of life. It's just such an amazing sport to get into. And, I'm always, grateful to hear the stories just from all walks of life. But just for you to share with our listeners, I just want to thank you for your time and let us know, like, what's next for you? What do you have going on for the rest of the, like, you're just getting started, right, Lisa? What else do you have going on this year?
Oh, I signed up for way too many things. So I got the Armed Forces Classic, which is just a cycling race on Saturday. And then the following weekend is Eagle Man, which I am doing as a relay. I'm doing the bike portion for
See you out there, Lisa.
Yes. And then just training up in between. Well, no, then it's Tri Louisville. And then there's I'm going back to age group nationals, and then North Carolina.
Yeah. So there's no like going to, sleeping, resting.
Oh no.
You're going to keep going.
No, sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly. Grandma's still out there.
Yeah.
What about you, Crystal? What's next for you?
Next for me, I'm doing the Columbia Triathlon, so that's another local triathlon. And then, like Lisa, doing Tri Louisville. I have a few 5K, 10K races that I'm doing. Cycle Jamaica, that's in the fall, and Army 10 Miler, which is also in the fall.
Oh, I'll be at Army 10 Miler. Me and my husband will be there, so hopefully we'll see you on the course.
Now I gotta go sign up for another race.
Yes, now you have to go sign up.
Wait, when is that one?
That's October 13th, yeah. I think, October.
Okay, I might be able to come out. Where is it? Is it out in the DMV area?
It starts at the Pentagon and finishes at the Pentagon. But yeah, we go into DC and
you run the monuments pretty much in DC from the Pentagon, a couple of monuments back to the Pentagon.
You say you got me Googling this race already.
Yeah. This is what happens.
Yeah.
But Akira, besides that race that you may be doing with us, what do you have next?
So I have Eagle Man in 2 weeks, so I'm doing that. And then, God willing, if I'm not a crazy person and I don't lose my mind, I'll be doing I Am Maryland in September.
Yeah.
So if I'm recovered, I'll join you for the 10 mile. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you will be. I am very confident.
Well, I'm watching you with all these races you've got loaded up this season. I'm like, this girl is on fire this year.
Well, like Lisa said, if you're not living, you're dead, right? So you just got to keep moving and keep moving your body. And like I said, I want to be like Lisa when I grow up, have grandchildren that are just like, my grandma, she just finished a triathlon or she's doing one this weekend. What an amazing feeling that is.
How many irons do you have on the plate, the calendar this year? Halves and fulls. How many?
I have 2 more fulls this year. I'm at 3 or 4 halves. I think I have maybe 2 or 3 more halves this year. I just told Jamie that I'm not going to talk about the fall because I haven't made complete decisions. And my husband is doing one in Italy in the fall. So I'm like, do I want to race or do I want to cheer? I'm horrible at cheering. Like, I never know where you are on the course. So
Yeah.
I would prefer to race with you. So I am counting what I have until September, which is 2 more fulls left. And I think, and then I'm going to be in Australia with Team USA.
Right, right.
Okay.
That's right.
So that's a aqua bike.
Right.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
So yeah, I'm excited to do that.
I
But
can't even imagine. You were doing it, girl.
Woo!
thank you, thank you.
I
But
need to go
again,
take a
we
nap on that.
inspire each other, right? To see each other, to cheer for each other.
Yeah.
I won't be an Eagle Man, but I'm gonna have my tracker loaded because it's finally my turn to track. I'm holding it down.
Yes.
So it'll be my turn to be like out and about and tracking and posting. So I'm excited to track you all and, cheer you all on from far. So thank you for your time today. Thank you for sharing with my listeners. And since you have so much going on, we'll have to double back and hear more from you because I know you've inspired so many just with our conversation today.
Oh,
So thank you.
alrighty.
Thank
Thank
you. It was
you.
a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Exposed Vegan Media. If you like this episode, please share it with others and subscribe. We look forward to sharing more information with you.